Hello everyone, and welcome back to Jikook Moment, the place where unspoken love finds its voice. Picture this. A seemingly ordinary BTS live broadcast suddenly turns into a stage for the deep emotional connection between two members, Jimin and Jungkook. No need for grand words, no need for dramatic gestures. Just the way they look at each other, understand each other, respond to each other, like two hearts beating in perfect sync. From subtle nods, soft smiles, to the way they say things at the same time, this live wasn't just a group chat, it was a mirror reflecting a connection that can't be faked. And today, we'll dive into the most intimate, raw, and heart-stirring moments from that live, and the quiet journey they chose together afterwards. From peaceful bedrooms to late-night walks in foreign cities. What really happened behind the scenes? And why did this moment mean so much to so many? Let's unpack it all. This is the place for it. One of the main highlights of BTS's latest live broadcast was just how clearly it revealed the emotional connection between Jimin and Jungkook. The moment felt special not only because of their presence, but because of how Jungkook showed, without saying much, how deeply he knows Jimin. From the very first minute the live started and the questions began to focus on Jimin, Jungkook immediately showed attentive behavior. He didn't just listen, he seemed to already know what Jimin would say. Every time Jimin spoke, Jungkook responded with a small nod, a soft smile, or a calm gaze, as if they were truly in sync. Their connection was unmistakable when Taeyong asked Jimin how he had been feeling lately. Jimin paused, thinking for a moment before answering. That's when Jungkook gave a small laugh, as if he could feel Jimin's emotion. Moments later, Jin asked a similar question. Before Jimin could even reply, Jungkook quietly said, "He's being sentimental?" That short comment said everything. Jungkook had already picked up that Jimin was speaking from the heart. And he was the only one to notice it that quickly. In his honesty, Jimin shared that what he missed most and what brought him the most joy was something very simple. Lying in bed, looking at his phone, and letting time pass. Not to escape, but to enjoy the calm before sleep. A peaceful moment where he could truly rest. As Jimin said this, Jungkook looked at him calmly, as if he genuinely understood. He nodded again, silently sharing that same feeling. The live went on until, at one point, Jin asked how long it had been since Jimin left the hospital. That's when one of the most surprising and beautiful moments happened. Jimin and Jungkook said at the same time, "Has it really been 3 weeks for us?" That spontaneous line revealed how in sync their minds were. It wasn't planned, it was a reflection of a deep connection, as if they shared not just words but thoughts. After that, Jungkook began counting with his fingers to double-check the dates, while Jimin reflected on how quickly time can pass when spent together in intense emotions. Jimin corrected himself and said he had actually only been back in Korea for 5 days. He repeated how valuable those quiet moments in bed were. Jin asked if something that simple could really make him happy, and Jimin replied with a sincere sentence. "It's an absolute blessing." A genuine statement that the smallest things often hold the greatest meaning. But what made this live so special wasn't just the words spoken, it was the small gestures that often go unnoticed. Jungkook was present the entire time, not just as a group member, but as someone truly focused on Jimin. He listened, he understood, and he responded to Jimin's emotions even before they were fully visible. It wasn't about grand statements, but about subtle, powerful communication that could barely be seen, but deeply felt. The relationship between Jimin and Jungkook felt so real. Not something exaggerated or forced, but something genuine. How two people can understand each other deeply, support each other in meaningful moments, and stay emotionally connected even in silence. Their closeness wasn't just built from the time they spent together as BTS members. It came from real care for each other, from unspoken understanding, and the courage to stand by one another through pressure. The most important part of all this wasn't the places they went or the photos that circulated. What truly mattered was their decision to spend that time together, privately and closely, after completing their military service and before beginning a new chapter with BTS. The time they spent together wasn't random, it was a choice. They chose to share experiences, to step away from the spotlight, and to enjoy each other's company without the pressure of cameras or schedules. They used their break to travel to places like Switzerland, Vietnam, and New York. But more than the destination, it was about how they spent that time. They weren't traveling for promotions or public events. They were doing it as two people with a special bond who wanted to spend quality time together, away from work. In Switzerland, for example, it wasn't a typical tourist trip. It was an escape. Photos showed them enjoying the scenery, walking peacefully, talking, and looking genuinely happy. Jungkook appeared calmer, freer, and more present in every moment, something rarely seen from an idol under such intense pressure. Then came Vietnam. Even without official photos, fans pieced together their presence through stories that surfaced later. They were seen dining at restaurants, walking at night, and enjoying each other's company like a couple that didn't need to explain anything. No bodyguards, no other members, no broadcasts. Their intimacy wasn't for show, but it was still deeply felt. And then New York, where their closeness became even more evident. They walked together, laughed together, even wore matching outfits, small details that only deepened the visible connection. Moments like these aren't always shared publicly, and that's okay. Often, the most meaningful experiences don't need to be posted to be real. What's clear is that they spent their time together in a deeply meaningful way. This period of calm was even more significant after the Live confirmed that BTS has started working on a new album and planning a tour starting in March. That means their schedules will once again be packed. Rehearsals, recordings, photo shoots, interviews, and countless responsibilities. They knew that free time would soon be rare. So before it all began, they chose to be together, to strengthen their bond and recharge their hearts. Sometimes, when someone is about to face major life changes, they need someone important by their side. That's exactly what Jimin and Jungkook did. And even if not everything was said out loud, the facts speak for themselves. They filmed together, spent full days without others around, and created experiences far from the spotlight. Not out of obligation, but out of sincerity. The way they spent their time together showed a strong relationship, built on trust, closeness, and affection. Jimin and Jungkook's story over the past few months is more than just inspiring. It sends a clear message. When two people truly care for each other, they'll do everything they can to stay together, even if time is short. Amid a demanding career and a life under public scrutiny, they chose to care for one another, live in the moment, and nurture a bond that goes beyond teamwork. We've seen how their interactions have evolved. Before, their moments seemed brief, hesitant, as if something held them back. But now, not anymore. Jimin and Jungkook are now just themselves. No longer hidden, no longer accidental. They're present, naturally and honestly. What was once hard to catch now happens repeatedly. Not to seek attention, but because they're following their hearts. It shows in how they touch each other, how they move in sync, as if they share a sixth sense. When one moves, the other responds. When one smiles, the other smiles back. These small things might seem insignificant, but they mean everything. This kind of connection can't be forced or faked, especially in front of cameras and fans. This type of bond only happens when there's full trust and deep understanding. Jimin and Jungkook aren't trying to prove anything. What they do is proof enough. And for those who have followed their journey all along, this is clear evidence that their relationship has grown. This isn't just a phase, but a journey they've walked together, step by step. Their bond is now so strong, it no longer relies on hidden moments. Their connection is alive, real, and undeniable. Seeing them together isn't just heartwarming. It's proof that two people can connect so deeply they no longer need to hide their feelings. When one acts, the other reacts without thinking. When they touch, it's effortless, regardless of who's watching. That level of comfort doesn't come from just anyone. It's born from a true relationship, where every move has meaning, stories, and emotions behind it. And that's what Jikook always conveys whenever they're together. And in the end, we're not just watching two idols sharing a stage. We're witnessing two souls growing together, finding meaning in silence, lifting each other through pressure, and choosing one another beyond the camera flashes. Jimin and Jungkook aren't acting. They're living. They're writing a story not always seen, but felt by anyone who truly pays attention. Their connection isn't just for admiration, it's for understanding. that sometimes, love doesn't need to be declared. It just needs the space to breathe. And with every step, Jikook has shown us that true closeness is when two people don't need to explain anything, because they already know everything. If you felt the same, drop a comment below. What was your favorite Jikook moment from this live? And why do you think their connection feels so real? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can stay with us here at Jikook Moment, the place where every whisper, glance, and smile tells a story. See you in the next video.